All right, welcome in. Here we are after the first real game of the year for K-State. We had games that counted finally. We saw them finally play a Power 5 team in Cal, but now they've played a team that most people thought was going to be legitimate this year and have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. It hails from the now almighty SEC that apparently we have to bow down to in basketball now because of whatever. And all K-State did tonight was show up and take care of business early, and they were able to actually expand the lead as the game grew. And they pulled away for easily their most impressive win of the season, 98-77. They take down Mississippi State in round one of the Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City. I am Mason Voth, joined by KSU fan Andrew Galloway for KSO Postgame Live, as we are ready to go here tonight and talk some K-State basketball, because that was a pretty entertaining way to start the return to Kansas City, which through the years there have been mixed results when K-State has gone to Kansas City to play. Obviously, I think the most notable year was 2010, 2011 when they beat Gonzaga and then they played Duke in the title game. Obviously, the season kind of went downhill after that point for a stretch. Bounced back thanks to Jacob Pullen. Bruce, my senior year of high school, the freshman year for Dean Barry and Cam at K-State, they beat Mizzou handily, take North Carolina to the brink. You thought they were going to win, and it kind of set the stage for what that nucleus of players was going to do for K-State over the next 4 seasons. And then Bruce went back to Kansas City when it was clearly time for him to be done, and they lost both games. So not a good trip that time around for Bruce and the boys. But this is a good event when K-State is playing well to be in, because it gives fans the opportunity to go see it. So those of you that were at T-Mobile Center tonight certainly enjoyed it. And I'm sure with a Friday late game tomorrow, K-State playing well, probably going to be even more Cat fans in attendance come tomorrow night. We'll just open up with general thoughts from you guys. If you have one major takeaway that you want to shout out here for K-State, because it was a complete performance, and I think a lot of different ways you can go with what you saw from this game, whether it's individual team stuff or just actual, hey, in game, this is what I liked. So anything that stands out, Drew, what was the number one takeaway for you?
Well, first off, K-State wasn't going to lose this game because it is Taj Manning's birthday. It is Dean Wade's birthday. It's Mason's favorite cat of all time, Cartier Martin's birthday. And it's also my birthday. So they were never going to lose this game.
Oh, yes, it is Drew's birthday. And I want you to know, I knew this before we went into it. And if I had more time and was willing to do it, I was going to try to come up with a nice little birthday banner to put around you on this. But I was like, that's going to take a lot more work than I have in me right now. So nothing like that. But yeah, happy birthday to Drew. Everybody in the chat say happy birthday, Drew.
So they were never going to lose this game, but this was like the PJ Hagerty game where this is kind of like what we were anticipating and always wanting, and feels like we get it every night now, but this was the special version where he was hitting the threes from outside. He was hitting the Jordan Shrug. It didn't feel like he had to get to the free throw line a ton to get his points. It was one of the more all-around performances that we have seen from pretty much anybody at K-State. And that was special. Thanks to everybody in the chat right now. I just keep seeing happy birthdays just coming up on the right side of the screen. It was just an all-around butt kicking, and PJ Hagerty was the catalyst. Our friend Scott Wildcat said it during the game. I kind of hinted at it during the pick and preview towards the end. K-State's going to have the best player on the floor in 90% of their games, which is awesome because it means that they always have a chance.
It might be more than that. I mean, I seriously think it needs to be taken seriously that PJ Hagerty could win Player of the Year in the Big 12 this year. What's his competition? JT Toppin comes back. Very hard for guys to repeat for that award, especially guys like JT Toppin, that it's okay, yeah, you were good last year, but like you're not going to get it again. Darren Peterson, you kind of have to play to win the award, so that might make it tough. And then AJ DeBonsa, like
there's too much competition. Same with Koa Pete at Arizona. I think there's too much competition on their own team.
And also, like, it's going to help too being on K-State for Hagerty if they can elevate, because he's so clearly the best, like you're pointing out here, Drew. And he will be the reason why they elevate, and he can kind of drive and carry them. Where you take DeBonsa away from BYU, they're still a pretty good team. You take, Pete away from Arizona, still a pretty good team. I think K-State would still be they basically be what we saw the last 2 years from K-State if you took PJ Hagerty away. But very clearly they got that missing piece, and PJ Hagerty has been stellar. And tonight was a lot more along the lines of what I was expecting or wanting from him. Like, people were ready to kind of crap on me for saying, hey, I haven't been overly impressed by the first 4 games of him. No doubt very good, like really, really good player. But I know he can be better than that. I think we'll see that at some point. I mean, try telling me that tonight is what he did the first 4 games, because someone already pointed it out, but he only shot 8 free throws in the game, and he just had total control of this one from really close start to finish. So tonight was a different level for PJ Hagerty, and you're going to see it a lot this season.
Yeah, he merely went from just being the leading scorer in the country to scoring 37 points and having his best offensive rating in his career of 1.61, 58 points per 100 possessions on the night, 1.43 points per shot. So, I agree with you. He was at another level. And the thing was, we were not quite satisfied with the level he was at, which was enough to lead the country in scoring at 26 points per game coming into this game. And now he's even elevated that to another level. And that was a key to this game. But I thought a bigger key maybe for me was they had a stretch of second half defense where they kept Mississippi State from chipping away. Mississippi State kind of hung around 9 to 7 points for it seemed like the first 10 or so minutes of the second half. And then K-State went on a run. They got stop multiple times, which Coach Tang talks about, and they built that lead up to 18. And then by the 4-minute mark, under 4 timeout, the game was over. So to me, it's 2 parts. And even then, the defense in the second half wasn't great, but they scored 1.44 points per possession in the second half. If you do that, you got to play even average defense is going to get you over the top. And that's what led to a 21-point win. K-State moved up 18 spots in KenPom. They went from number 66 to number 48 with this win. So that's how big of a win it was. This is a metric-loving win for the Cats, and one that enhances their profile quite a bit. And now if they can go do that again tomorrow night against Nebraska, it'll look even better. But that story to me is PJ Hagerty going to another level, which is All-American Big 12 Player of the Year level, and then second half defense finally getting to where we need it to be instead of what we saw the last 2 games against Cal and Tulsa.
Yeah, I've been staring at fans team sheet that he posted. I think it was last night or 2 nights ago about like the second half defense and second half metrics. And I've kind of given up on it because I also looked and like they're averaging coming into this game 1.2 points per possession on offense in the second half. And like I can live with just trying to outscore everybody in the second half. But the one thing that does kind of concern me a little bit about that is like that's going to come down to K-State still has to start fast and start hot on offense in the first half if they're going to kind of relax a little bit on that end of the floor. But if you can score, I think it ended up being 1.54 points per possession in the second half. I can live with allowing 1.1.
Yeah, you'll take that if you're scoring at that rate.
Not many will outscore.
You're not going to get beat, and that's the thing. The other thing about this game is Mississippi State has been a top 50 defense each of the last 3 seasons under Chris Jans. Like that's where he hangs his hat, is playing defense and getting offensive rebounds. And K-State kind of did a good job with both of those tonight, limiting them to. They were better in the second half, but they still only had an offensive rebounding rate of 25.7%, and K-State was better at 32.4%. winning offensive rebounding rate against a team that's what they do, and then taking it to a Chris Jan's team, 1.31 points per possession against a team that has been top 50 each of the last 3 seasons is really, really good and a good sign for what this team is going forward. I said before the game that I thought Hagerty and Hubbard would be the match. I thought Hagerty was a little better, but then it was going to be about the supporting cast. And I think we saw K-State has the better supporting cast. Nate Johnson, double figures, Bashir, double figures, and then some other nice games from other pieces in this game. So just really nice overall from the K-State to get a big win, 21 points. Not what I expected. I think I predicted them to win by 7 or 8. I'll take this 98 points again and 21 point dub anytime.
Yeah, you can see right there on the screen if you're watching. That was the calling card for Mississippi State, the offensive rebounds, and K-State comes in and gets more of them, something that we know K-State has not been very good at limiting offensive rebounds to their opponents. The turnovers, K-State wins that by a good margin tonight, so that's good. We'll get to the chat a little bit earlier than normal here tonight because I think there are some good jumping off points there, like Duckfather, who says, is it just me or is the defense getting better? Yeah, and I think they're going to continue to get better because you can see that this team, number one, they're smart for the most part. They still have some moments, and you'll have some guys that it's not all the way there to the way you would want it, but so many of them do see the game so much better. That already helps you. Even if you don't have the talent to be a good defender, you're going to be able to make some plays at different times. And in addition to that, you can tell that they just play hard. They bust their tail. I mean, Elias Rapiak was going 100% for loose balls when there were 3 minutes left in case it was up by 20. Stuff he didn't have to do. Like balls that last year, I saw Coleman Hawkins just stop and let him roll out of bounds.
In close games.
And yeah, in games that like mattered where you should be putting it on the line. And he wouldn't do that. And so he can cry in the locker room all that he wants, but we know what it looked like on the floor for most of the season. Well, Elias Rapiak showed kind of what the whole embodiment of this team is and why it's different this year is because they just go out there, they play hard, they care. And some of the other things that we'll get into that kind of tie into this, a chore versus Moby was fun to see. Yeah, we all agreed on that. That was fun to see tonight, especially because K-State ends up winning by 21. And you kind of see why after the St. John's game last year, K-State was like, all right, I hope the door doesn't hit you on the way out. Maybe you kind of do hope it hits him on the way out. But yeah, K-State got the better end of that very clearly. Achor has issues, and you can see why he wasn't on the team for a lot of last season and why he's playing for teams that are getting smoked by 21 and why Moby is still here trying to do things that help you win. Like he almost had another steal and slam tonight, just got a little too excited.
Is it bad when Achor is the player that is minus 21 on the team for Mississippi State?
That is quite the coincidental number right there. You lose by 21 and your plus minus is negative 21. That is brutal.
I also think that defensively they're getting better because they realize that the more that they get stops and the more that they get rebounds, the easier it is to get out and run. Like I don't think that that's a coincidence that has really flipped the switch and kind of been the catalyst for getting out and running the last 2 games because they got out and ran in a track meet against Cal near the end because neither team could stop each other. The last 2 games, K-State has gotten out and ran because they've been able to rebound a lot better. So I think that they've kind of realized that and realizing that if you get steals, you get rebounds, it's a lot easier to go score than facing 5 guys that are set. And I think this was Baller Status that pointed this out. And Mississippi State got away with quite a few delay of games after the delay of game warning after made shots. They loved tapping the ball back.
There was no backbone for the refs tonight. That was, I mean, how about the one missing the double dribble? And fortunately, the guy on the baseline bailed him out because he made the charge call. You guys know I can go off on refs. We're not going to do that tonight. We're not going to do it because I've already done it enough this year, and I'll save it for a game that matters when K-State actually gets screwed because here's the beauty of it. This team is good enough this year that there will be a loss or two that happens because they did get screwed by the refs, like actually screwed. Not, last year's team. It's like, well, if you shoot yourself 10 times and then you try to say that the person that came by and stabbed you afterwards is the one that killed you, it's like, no, I just saw you kill yourself. Like, that's probably going to get us banned on YouTube for that gruesome analogy, but it's the best way I could think of it for this team right now. So, yeah, it's just so many differences that you can see with this team. And, like, that's the little stuff that you have forgotten or not gotten to be a part of over the last handful of years if you're a K-State fan, is that you haven't been good enough to where complaining about the officials is actually legitimate. The K-State's going to be good enough for that to happen this year. They're also going to be good enough to where you don't even have to worry about it for a majority of the games like tonight, because all that stuff was rendered useless with how the outcome ended up looking, where K-State had this thing in hand. And it's got to be nice for a lot of people to watch a team that in the last 5 minutes against Cal let the lead really shrink down, even though they were never going to lose that game, to see them continue to put it on Mississippi State tonight. And Drew already mentioned the birthday boy, Taj Manning. Nice to see that he was able to get the bucket off the inbound once he got out there. So that was enjoyable to see. And K-State was able to do a lot of good tonight. 24 bench points for the Cats, which, second leading scorer behind PJ Hagerty, the bench. A couple of the other things that I want to hit on in here. We have a handful of them, so keep it coming. We'll get into it. TCAS going at me. Voth is literally taking a dump on this team in the first 4 games. Strange now that his attitude has changed. What are you talking about? I came in here. I think I've been one of the most positives consistently about this team this season, where I can point out the bad, but I've continued to say I don't think it matters. I think they're going to be really good.
You booted me for saying that they'd lose a game in Kansas City. You've been the cheerleader.
Guess who looks like the fool now? Not me.
There's still another game to go.
Oh, please. The mayor. Nobody takes mayors seriously, Maybe a governor, but not even that, So, yeah, I've been one of the biggest supporters of this team because I think that they're going to do good things this year. Just because that was a very in the program type of stance by TCAS right there, to think that criticism means that I'm against you. No, criticism's just there because it's legitimate, but I think this team's going to be good. I want more from them because they can provide it. And we saw that tonight with what they were able to do. Matthew asks, how does a team only shoot 3 free throws outside of PJ and still score 98? Fan, have you seen that before?
I mean, when you make 47% from 3, you make 54% from 2, you only have 8 turnovers, which is under 11% for their turnover rate, and you rebound 33% of your misses almost a third of your misses. Free throws aren't as big a deal. Like, they're so good at shooting the ball, and we got the 3-point shooting that we want from this team. Now, is 46% going to be the expected rate? I don't know, but that's now 4 out of the 5 games, or 5 out of the 6 games, 4 out of the 5 games where they have shot it really well from 3 and 1 bad one. They've been really good at 2. And really, the 2-point shooting is my only complaint, because we went 6 of 23 on 2-point jumpers. Quit shooting 2-point jump shots. Like, that's my only complaint of the game. We went 27% on 2-point jump shots. We were 85% at the rim. Just keep going to the rim and quit shooting 2-point jump shots, especially Abdi Bashir, but there were some others that shot them as well. PJ shot too many, in my opinion. Quit shooting those shots, and our efficiency is even better because we're so good when we get to the rim. So to me, it's just that factor. They shoot it well. They take care of the ball. You get offensive rebounds. You're going to have an efficient game, and that's what this team did. But again, please stop shooting the 2-point jump shots. Please stop that.
Unless they're going to go in, then
unless they're going to go in, but it's just a bad shot.
Even if they go in, I don't like them.
No, they're not. They're not fun to see. But here's the beauty of it is, at least there are some guys on this team that, like, when they take it, I don't just immediately go, "Oh my gosh, that's a waste." Like, until it gets to where the ball is on the floor and it's either gone in or missed, I'm still going, could happen. I'm not gonna cuss it out until it's over with. Whereas in past years, you see some guys like, this bleepity bleeper, like, what is he doing here? Desi Sills had a lot of shots like that. Probably the first 2/3 of that season. I was like, oh gosh, that's just a waste right there. Then he turned it around. He made things a lot better there. So we've hit on a bunch of different things for this team already. I think there's still plenty to get to in terms of how things look. This has to be talked about. PJ's a stud. We definitely won the Memphis trade. Thanks to Chris for the comment there. Very clear that K-State won the Memphis trade. Although I think we all kind of knew that, like, in the summer. PJ Hagerty could go out there and be scoring like 10 a game right now, and I think you would still say that K-State probably won the trade with Memphis because of how much of a disaster Doug McDaniel was, not just on the floor, but in other areas last year. But yeah, like, and this goes to show the power of, like, there's still value to being a Big 12 team versus Memphis, who is easily the best team in the American Athletic Conference. Like, money that K-State has is able to land Hagerty. Memphis can't keep Hagerty. And also just the fact that, like, Penny runs an unserious program there.
Are they clearly the best program in the American?
Yes, the best program, best team this year, that's going to be up for debate. But that's what happens when Doug McDaniel's on your team.
If I was in a state where gambling is legal, I think that I would place a wager still on Tulsa. Because Memphis clearly doesn't want to win it.
Could it be Wichita State? People are talking.
No, if you lose to a team that lost to a D2 school on opening night, you're not
didn't
winning.
Count. Boise's back, please. Yeah, I don't know. I just the PJ thing is so clear, and honestly, the place where you could see it the best tonight, and you don't even have to look to see what Doug McDaniel's done this year. Take my word for it, folks. It hasn't been good, and his team has 3 losses, by the way. Was on that play where he kind of gives the tap to the chest of the Mississippi State guy, who I think is just expecting, oh, guard, he's going to fly out to the perimeter, and instead just quick move, cuts back to the block, able to go up and score pretty easily. Doug McDaniel's not doing that last season. By the way, Doug McDaniel, 4.3 turnovers per game this season. That is almost double what he did last year at K-State.
Another, like, underappreciated thing that I think that PJ Hagerty and Nate Johnson both do is they have such a good feel for the game. And this was the last play of the half when Johnson absolutely destroyed a chore. Jerome Tang is trying to call a timeout because he has a use it or lose it timeout before the end of the half. And you can see Nate Johnson and Hagerty both wave him off because they saw the mismatch and said, we're just going to do this. And if we don't get a good shot, we exploited the mismatch. And of course they exploited the mismatch and got the bucket. I think from that moment on, it never felt like Mississippi State was going to win the game.
And the whole team sitting back and letting it happen is significant too, especially when you have PJ Hagerty, who any other team, it's like, no, he's the only guy that should have that ball in the situation. And they were cool with Nate Johnson doing it. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there. Outside of PJ Hagerty's brilliance tonight, which that's what it was, 13 of 21, 8 assists, 7 boards to go with the offense that he provided. What else stood out to you on an individual basis that you take away from it and either say they continue to step up like Nate Johnson, or, Fan, you were talking about Andre Kostic showing a little bit more. So what from other individuals outside of Hagerty made an impact for you this evening?
Well, I'll go with Nate Johnson first. Like, I think he's got to be that secondary guy. 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He just does so many things. He goes 2 for 5 from 3. So I think that's key. You had a better Abdi game, 4-6 from 3, 0 for 4 from 2. So again, quit shooting twos, Abdi. But other than that, he did some good things. He also had 4 rebounds, which you like to see from him. I think he had moments where he was pretty good on defense. He still was going to struggle some. So those 2 are kind of your key cogs. Castillo had 9 points, which is, a solid game for him. I thought he really struggled on defense at times, especially in that first half, early in the second. That's something he's got to learn how to do well. But again, another 4 rebounds from him. Looking at the rebounding, like, you have so many guys grabbing rebounds. There's no dominant guy. I mean, your leading guy is PJ Hagerty. Oh, I do have to add this. One more PJ Doug stat. PJ has 51 free throws this season in 5 games. Doug had 58 last year all season. Just had to throw that out there.
Interesting stats. That's good stuff there. Got to bring this up because we got like right on top of each other. I don't know if Cody and Austin are talking to each other right now and planning it out. Questioning CJ Jones and his minutes tonight. It was clearly not the best that could have been provided. And I think as you see other guys continue to develop, like the hope would be come conference play, CJ Jones is playing 0 minutes in some games. And that is more of something that you can rely on Kostic to go out and do. David Castillo's defense had some really light moments tonight, but obviously still provided some stuff offensively that is big for you. So that's where he's out there right now because based off of his prototype, he can get some minutes. He played for the team last year, so they can trust him a little bit. But yeah, he's clearly the weak link on this team, and the upside isn't there like a number of the other guys that could play for this team. Like all of the Euros, I think there's upside there, even Durian Buka, who everybody's wanting to talk about right now. And then, you can look at it like Castillo obviously is getting better and improving things. So he's just the guy that he is what he is, and it's not great. Like Moby is what he is, but I still like what Moby could give you at any given moment more than CJ Jones. So he's going to be good depth to rely on if you're without some guys or foul trouble gets weird, and he'll have a game or two this year where he helps you, but he's not going to be a significant player down the stretch. Or if he is, then it means that Kostic really hasn't gotten things to click. But Kostic up the minutes to 16 tonight, so like it's getting closer to being in the realm that you would like.
Yeah, Andre Kostic is one of the first K-State players that every time he shoots it, I think it's going in. Like all 5 shots tonight looked great. The 4-point play that Chris Jans was like irate about, that he thought that Kostic was on the line, then they review it and it was still a 3. Hilarious. Yeah, I'll be the one that talks about Durian Buka. The chat is going crazy wanting to talk about him. I'll talk about him right now. He's starting to figure it out a little bit. He is continuing to get better. I'm really excited about where he could be in January than where he is right now. But he's showing flashes that is like, okay, he is clearly getting better. The block tonight that he had was hilarious. I don't need any more threes from Durian Buka. I don't think that I want any more threes from Elias Rapique. And I don't think that I want times where they're both on the floor at the same time. But I think I kind of feel that way a little bit about all of the bigs together. And I'm almost to the point where I like what Castillo brings off the bench. But tonight you could feel the game really flip when the 4 guards were in. And you could feel that the momentum kind of went away to begin the second half because they went back to the 2 bigs, and to start the second half, K-State started a little bit slow again. I think I'm more leaning towards just going 4 guards and saying we're just going to outscore everybody, because it's not like that lineup right now is so bad defensively that you have to like limit the time that they're all on the court together.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you. I think the Buka thing is he's become like at least a neutral, like he's not a net negative for the team, and is making enough positive plays to earn minutes. He's not a hindrance, and it's at the 5. It's really him or McGriff, and once in a while you can live with Rapique for a few minutes, Ripiek for a few minutes there, but it's really those 2. So you got to split those minutes. McGriff's max is probably 25 minutes playing at the 5 right now. So Buka's going to have to get some of those. So I think that's where it comes
purely
into play.
Because of he's going to get into foul trouble, not because of conditioning or anything.
No, that's very, very much true. And he's getting enough rebounds. He was the leading rebounding rate guy tonight, and given his minutes on the court. So I'll take that from him. He got the block. Once in a while, he's going to get switched on a wing. He did that a couple times tonight, and I thought he didn't get beat too badly. Once in a while, there's a bad switch on pick and rolls where we get in trouble with him getting stuck out on the perimeter, and then they get an easy bucket at the rim. That's really the biggest issue. But McGriff does that too. Like, that's not just a Buka thing that we got to watch. And then Rebounding, like, the flash you saw tonight at times is he can kind of guard 1 through 5. And I think that's what they see in him as far as the defensive side of the ball goes, which I don't know that anybody else can do, because I don't think Moby's great at that. I don't think Taj Manning can do that. And you saw Rebounding do that a little bit tonight, which I think gives him the nod at times. He's got to quit shooting threes. His shot looks ugly. He shot it okay in Germany for Alba, but I don't know. Like, I don't see it right now. Like, he's got to quit shooting those shots. He made the one early. I was like, okay. And then he kept shooting them. And I'm like, okay, now you can stop. So,
and he also doesn't have to do a lot on the offensive end. Like, a lot of people keep saying, like, when is he going to take that step on the offensive end? He doesn't really have to right now. Like, he has the nation's leading scorer. He has Nate Johnson who can fill it up. He has Avi Bashir who can fill it up. If he can get like 6 points in a night like that, you're taking that. And tonight he had the 5, I believe. Oh, no, it was just the 3. It was just the 3, but he had 2 assists. And if he can be a playmaker when he has the ball and isn't like clogging the space for the guards, because that was what I think kind of bogged down the beginning of the game and led to a lot of tough shots in the lane that there was some contact on that they missed, or just some tough twos because there just wasn't good spacing. So if he can space the floor a little bit better, and that's where I think that later on this year, I think you might need to see him take those threes, because I think that he's going to continue to start with a big the rest of the way. That if he can make those threes every once in a while and be like 30 to 32% and be good enough to where he has to be guarded, it will be okay. But once he misses 1 or 2, he doesn't need to be shooting anymore.
Yeah, you got to know when to shut it down, especially when you got a roster of guys that you can go pretty deep with the ability to shoot the ball, so you don't need those guys to do it a ton. But, for the spacing and for what it could provide, like, he's good enough that if nobody is around you, like, take it. That would be my philosophy on it for him. But you don't need to force it. It doesn't need to be something that you're seeking out. And Buka does not need to take any more of them.
My bold prediction the rest of the way is that there will be a game where Elias hits a 3 in a game where they need it.
Yeah, I could see it. I can see it happening. I want to throw this out there because this is the one that I was able to favorite. Some of them were coming in faster, but I saw some other people asking about it. And it was about Matthew Driscoll. How about the addition of him? As what TCAS said, somebody asked how important it was. Like, that's why this team is what this team is. Now, some of it is PJ Hagerty, obviously, but the overall philosophy and them being able to maximize it and it looking like this and giving them the ceiling that I think is there is solely because of him. Like, he is totally in charge of this offense. Like, he is the number one guy, and he is the top coach making a difference for this team right now. And I don't even think Jerome Tang would deny that.
Yeah, I would. I'm honestly, I was, looking into the season, looking at what North Florida did last year. They played at 72 possessions per game, which was number 10 nationally. And really the key is how fast you play on offense is what really dictates your possessions. And they were 15th in the country at 15.7 seconds per offensive possession last year. And that's really where I see the difference for K-State. K-State this year is at 14.7 seconds per offensive possession, which is number 23 nationally, which gives them the 73.8 possessions per game, which is number 31 nationally. That's adjusted to opponents. It's even faster than that if you just go raw possession. So that's the one that surprised me the most. And then probably second, I did not expect us to quite shoot it this well. I thought we'd shoot it better, but we're at now 45.9% from three, which is fifth in the country, and the seventh best effective field goal percentage at 62.5%. And now, can they sustain that all year? Now, we're 5 games in. That's, a sixth of your season. So I'm starting to feel like this is what this team is. Like, they're a fast-paced team that plays fast on offense, that's going to shoot the ball well. Going to be maybe average on defense, but if you can outscore people, you can win a lot of games, and you can make Mason Voth very happy with the style of play as well. So
there's a reason why I enjoyed talking to him so much in media day. I was like, this is the best time of my life getting to hear what he has to say on playing offense. I mean, you can just see it with this team, and the way that they're obviously going fast. They have the guys that can make this offense kind of run to perfection. Like I in my time watching all these 30 for 30s, I think about, did you ever watch the Guru of Go, the Paul Westhead, Loyal Marymount?
Yeah, that is a good
30
one.
for 30. Obviously, it spoke to me with the way those teams play. But like in it, he talks about like he needed the right guys to run the system. And you also kind of get enlightened to this for anybody that watched the HBO series about like the Showtime Lakers and like because Westhead took over as coach after the coach took a spill on his bike and got to win a title with that team. But like his whole philosophy when he was there, he's like, I need these guys to be able to run this. So it's not just the idea behind it, which I think would have improved K-State already. Like if you run things back with last year's team and Driscoll's implementing this on offense, I think they're probably a little bit better. But it kicked into a totally different gear because he has the guys that can do it. Obviously, PJ Hagerty is perfect for this thing because he can get to the rim and finish or draw a foul. Nate Johnson, incredibly smart as well, can also knock down shots. Bashir is the kind of shooter that you need to make this thing go. Like you have a bunch of guys that can make these shots at any point, catch and shoot, get it out of there. And that's what has made this thing so harmonious early on. It's not just that K-State looks a lot better on offense. They're a drastically different team, and it is solely because of what Matthew Driscoll has implemented. And then also a credit to the staff at large and also anybody that has the financial investment in this roster that helped bring in guys like PJ Hagerty and Abdi Bashir and Nate Johnson. And you can just keep going down the list because all of that together gives you a team that isn't just an NCAA tournament team. This is a top third of the Big 12 type of team. This is a 6 seed or better type team. And I truly believe that. And TCAS, I said it before the season even started, this team was going to be a 6 seed. So I've been a believer since day one with these boys. So I think it's still on the table, and we're seeing it here because Matthew Driscoll is the right guy to run an offense in this era of college basketball, and he's got the perfect team to do it right now.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about what the rest of this season is going to be over the next 2 games as well. Like I'm really looking forward to what I think could be a track meet tomorrow night against Nebraska. Both teams like getting it up and down the court. The defense for both teams leaves a little bit to be desired at times. And both teams can really shoot it. And that's also what makes us feel real is that coming into this tournament, Mississippi State was a team that I thought would give K-State the most problems because of what they want to do defensively. And they want to kind of muck the game up. And I've called them like a diet version of Iowa State with how they play. And they're really physical and they really get into you and want you to be really uncomfortable. And that is kind of what scared me off of this matchup. Like K-State and Nebraska are very, very similar. And for much of the game, kind of like K-State tonight, Nebraska kind of whipped a pretty solid New Mexico team. So it makes tomorrow really fun. And then, the Indiana game will be really fun. It's just so fun to be sitting here November 21st now for me. And like really be looking forward to these next two games of like, okay, they passed the first test with Cal. That was what is this season going to look like? Are they going to lose to a team that is projected near the bottom of the ACC and kind of be like, here we go again? Pass that test. Beat a pretty frisky Tulsa team in a game where they really had to battle and show a lot of resiliency and show that they're a different team than last season and that they're not just a one-trick pony because the shots weren't falling. Tonight, they beat the best team that they've played so far this season by 21, and it got to the point where if Hagerty, Johnson, Bashir would have played the whole rest of the game, they might have won the game by 30 with how the game was rolling. Now you're playing a Nebraska team that is nowhere near like the Nebraska of old and is a little bit more fun and is more like a Fred Hoiberg type team. If you can win that, I think that you really, really get the buy-in, even if you lose the game in Bloomington.
Yeah, and this goes to kind of what I was saying after the Tulsa game, that win or lose, my message was going to kind of be the same on Monday. Is that like I still believe in this team. There was no reason to jump off of it. And now you've had a game like this that no matter what happens tomorrow night against Nebraska or Tuesday night against Indiana, I think this is a team that you should still have some belief and buy into, because we've seen a really good team through the first 5 games of the year. Guys that are playing together for the first time, and this thing's only going to get better because the defense has steadily improved over 5 games. So much of this has continued to get better. So I think pretty highly of what's coming next for K-State.
I will pose this question a little bit to Fan, because we've both talked about you got to go 1-2 in this stretch starting in Kansas City to Bloomington at least 1-2. Now that you won the first game, would it feel like a disappointment to go 1-2?
Yeah, a little bit, especially because you just won by 21. You beat what I think most of us thought was the best team outside of K-State in the field, Mississippi State, and you beat them by 21. Although Nebraska has won 9 games in a row because they won whatever little tournament they played.
The Crown. How could you forget?
Don't disrespect the Crown.
Also, I mean, I was saving this for just a little bit, but Fan brought it up. Longest winning streak in college basketball is on the line tomorrow night in Kansas City, because it's not just Nebraska could lose it. If K-State wins, they jump into a tie at 6 straight wins with everybody else in the country for that title. So college basketball supremacy is happening tomorrow night in the heartland in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's a big deal with the Huskers coming off that Crown title last year. But Drew said it earlier. This should be a great game. You have 2 top 40 offenses, 2 top 20 shooting teams as far as effective field goal percentage goes in the country. It should be a fun game to watch. It should be a high paced game. I think it's going to come down to what we saw in the second half for that stretch. Can K-State play the defense they need to play to get stops? I do think. I don't think Nebraska has a guard like Hubbard. I don't think they have a guy that is at that level, but they may have a better team than Mississippi State has. I really questioned where Chris Jans had his team going into this game. I didn't think they were quite where they needed to be, and I thought K-State was in better shape. I do think Nebraska is better as far as that goes. I think they are a more together team. So we're following the old Campbell precedent of, can we just be the most together team at the end of the season? That's more important than championships. But in some ways, in early season college basketball now, in the portal era, in the NIL era, that's kind of true. You got to get your team together, because that's kind of how you win these games, because everybody has some talent. Everybody has good players from other teams. But what you like about this K-State team is the way they've come together. You brought P.J. Hagerty in and all these other guys like Nate Johnson, Bashir, McGriff, but they like to play together. They look like they enjoy playing with each other. They look like they're coachable. They want to listen to these coaches, and they're playing hard. You pointed out Rapiak going after loose balls when K-State's up 20 in the last minute of the game. Like, those are the things you like to watch as a fan, in addition to the pace and the offense and all those things, that these guys like to play together and they play hard for 40 minutes. And if K-State does that, I think they're going to beat Nebraska, and I think they'll have a really good shot to go to Indiana and win as well.
Yeah, Rink Mast is probably the best big that K-State has played all season to this point tomorrow night. So that will be a kind of a matchup to watch, and a matchup where it does get you a little bit scared because, as I have pointed out a few times this season, Kamari McGriff, Elias Rapique, and Doreen Buka do love a good foul on defense. So that does worry me a little bit. But again, K-State probably has the two best players going into tomorrow. So that is something to think about.
Yeah, and you're going to have that for a lot of this season. To what you're talking about, teams playing together. This ties into Austin's question. Is this team better than Tang's first team? And how I get to that from what Fan was saying was I pointed out, and I've been big on this, is that it's not about roster retention. It's about getting guys that buy into what you're selling and then also buy in with each other. And it's very clear that team number one had that. Like, that was a lot of dudes that came together. It all made sense. It all fit. Year two, it did for the most part, but you obviously, Tomlin kicked off the team, Glover not available, impacted it. Last year was a total train wreck. If you look around the country, like I found it weird that Jerome Tang kept saying that, we want to be like Houston, or we want to be whoever keeping all these players, when his best team were a bunch of new guys that knew nothing about him coming into it and never played together before. And that's when it clicked with me, like, well, Iowa State isn't keeping players just to keep them. It's because they all like playing together and they're really good, and they're also just not a bunch of idiots. And if you can keep that together, then you're going to be good. But you don't have to have the same guys to achieve that. You just have to be really, really special at evaluating people and bringing them in. And this team clearly has it. Like, this is easily in the same category as that first team in terms of how they play together and the chemistry that's there. You had two All-Americans on that team in Noel and Johnson. And so that's what's going to make this a little bit different and a little tricky. I mean, that team was a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. And very easily, if they didn't lose stinkers to OU and Texas Tech that year, would have tied for the Big 12 title. So I don't know that we can say that it's better, but they're going to give themselves the opportunity to achieve a lot of the similar things. And because the Big 12 is a little bit different and you don't know how things might end up playing out with other teams, like, they're going to be right there in this thing. And maybe by the end of the year, like, it is a different tune, because like, this team has come together far quicker than that one did, because that team did not put together a performance like this against the high major squad until they played Texas to start Big 12 play, when they went to another level during that stretch, and obviously hit their best form in the NCAA tournament for the most part. So it's hard to say right now. I doubt that they're going to be able to get to that level, but it's definitely on the table and you can't rule it out. And that's ultimately the fun thing here, is that the ceiling has not found its cap yet. Like, we've not found the roof yet for this ceiling, Michael Jordan. It's still somewhere. We're looking for it. It could go higher. That's why this is all just so much fun for K-State right now.
Yeah, and at worst, they will be as fun to watch as that first team was, and that is worth something. Also, got to give a shout out to Mason. 2 fantastic logo choices for the matchup tomorrow night. And then we talked about Ken Palm and how K-State skyrocketed there. Does Bart Torvik not know ball? K-State only went up 6 spots after winning the game by 21 in a game where Bart Torvik had the spread at, like, I think it was Mississippi State -4.
Yes.
On Bart Torvik, and K-State only goes up 6 spots.
3.9. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, come on.
All right, I got a highlight of tonight's game that I want to play for everybody to just cap this thing off. Then we'll close out with a few more final thoughts and things from the chat. Here's a look at the K-State performance tonight, delivering a spanking to Mississippi State. What a performance by the Cats and how that played out. That might be the wrong video. That's actually the video that got Chris Jans fired at Bowling Green. My bad. Sorry about that, folks. That video has been saved numerous times for me when Chris Jans loses or something bad happens, and it all stems from the fact that I had a boss at a place not to be named. Could have been any of my jobs. Could be DY. Could be John Kurtz. Could be anybody that was adamant that Chris Jans needed to be hired by Wichita State or K-State. And obviously it's worked out for Mississippi State hiring Chris Jans. But just with that guy's background, also go look up the team that he put together at New Mexico State the year after he left and what went down there. I know it can be tough with Jerome Tang at times, but like we're seeing it this year, the embodiment of what I've said, where like when K-State's good, Jerome Tang's an awesome dude to have as your head coach. Like he obviously cares. He's a good guy. Like I want it to work out with Jerome Tang and K-State because he's not Chris Jans. And so for whatever reason, having a boss that was like, they need to go hire Chris Jans. I'm thinking, oh gosh, that is not at all what I would want as a K-State alum.
I just can't believe Kurtz would have said that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, really hard to believe. So definitely not him. I mean, let's see.
I mean, you got to like Teddy Buckets though. Like he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He also played for the Cornhuskers for a while.
DY don't think he cares about Chris Jans. Also wasn't working for him when K-State had a vacancy.
I wonder who that could have
Julie
been.
At Rivals did not know anything about basketball. So probably wasn't her. My boss at Prairie Dunes went to Penn State. So, I mean, while he probably had sketchy decisions to make with coaches, I don't think Chris Jans was his guy. So I don't know.
Could be anybody.
Yeah, it really could be anybody. But yeah, Chris Jans, please, would not touch him with a 10-foot pole, let alone my hand in a bar. So yeah, there we go. Back to serious thoughts on the Cats tonight to close this thing out as I disparage a head coach that again got fired for inappropriate reasons. May have put together a roster of not so good dudes in Las Cruces. Tomorrow night and Tuesday against Indiana. What's the expectation now? Because Drew said 1-2 in this stretch. We're going to lose the game in Kansas City. Do you think this team goes 3-0 now in those 3 games?
I don't know if they go 3-0, but I think that they have a very good shot at going 3-0. Tomorrow night will be a lot of fun. Maybe the game I'm looking forward to in November the most, probably since K-State played Duke in 2010, and that even got kind of hampered right before the start. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it is just so fun to enjoy basketball again because the basketball season can be such a grind, and it can really drag on if the season isn't going well. Like I just looked up and realized that we've been going for the last 54 minutes, and it doesn't feel like it because it's been a lot of fun just talking about it. I think
Saturday football is going to feel like pulling teeth.
Not when they win too. I think K-State gets it done tomorrow night. This team just feels different. They have a legitimate difference maker. And until we see otherwise, and we've only seen it one time, the 6 times that we've seen K-State play basketball this year, I don't know if there's a team that can outscore them. Because when they get going, it is like an avalanche in a good way.
Yeah, I think when the best player on the court is on your team, and then when the best guard on the court is on your team, and then when the best guard that you have might be one of the best guards in the country, you can win any game you play in. And I think that's where K-State's at. I think we saw the supporting cast respond tonight after having what I thought was probably a fairly mediocre game against Tulsa. And I think they do that again because I just think this Nebraska team is fine. It's solid. I think Hoiberg's kind of doing what maybe we thought he would after struggling for a few years in Nebraska. Although they're not great, they're a solid program. They're a team that's going to probably be in the middle of the Big Ten and maybe be on the bubble, be a tournament-type team. But I just think K-State's a better team, and I think K-State's going to keep rising up. It will be a lot tougher to go to Indiana and win. I think Indiana's a pretty good team and well coached for once in a while, for once in a long while. But I think tomorrow night K-State's simply the better team. The thing to watch as I look at just the raw numbers, Nebraska shoots over 50% of their shots from three. K-State's about 38%. So even though we shoot well from three, we don't shoot it as much. We rely on twos a little bit more. As long as we eliminate some of these 2-point dumb jump shots, I think K-State is in good shape. And we took a lot of dumb 2-point jump shots tonight and won by 21. So maybe I'm just stupid.
The game before the New Mexico to Nebraska game was just a gross game overall. There was a 77 threes shot in that game and 26 makes.
Yeah, well, Nebraska, they have had some scoring that they've done this year. They've also they beat Maryland Eastern Shore just 69-50, but they scored 105 against OU. And their fans showed up well for that game. In South Dakota, they scored 96. They scored 86. They scored 86 against Quay Moss's former school. How about that? Shout out West Georgia. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a lot closer to what maybe people anticipated tonight being, where it's like, I think K-State wins, but maybe it's going to have to be a little bit scrappier. It's not going to be, final 5 minutes. You're like, oh, they're going to win this thing. I think it might be a little bit more of a fight throughout the entire thing. I'm also interested to see what this team looks like with the style that they play and getting up and down on a back-to-back. And we saw PJ Hagerty dealing with cramps tonight, obviously. So I'll be fascinated by that. And also, one little look-ahead thing. I felt pretty good about K-State's chances in this game tonight because I like the fact that Mississippi State hadn't played since Saturday, and K-State had that game on a Monday. Looking ahead to Tuesday, Indiana played their last game tonight, so not the biggest of differences for K-State, but I like the fact that there's a little bit of a longer layoff there for them. But all right, we'll get out of here. That'll do it for us tonight. For Drew, for Fan, I'm Mason. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.